Sweet life, sweet life, sweet life.
Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be making this adorable giant cookie cake in the theme of The Little Mermaid, the new movie that's coming out. So I planned to make chocolate chip cookies from scratch, but then I rounded up all the ingredients and realized I did not have any chocolate chips. So I caught myself running to the store really quickly to get chocolate chips, but the lines were ridiculous because we are expecting to have a hurricane in a few days. So I was able just to run to the dollar store and get this chocolate chip cookie mix. And you just had to add a stick of butter, well, a half stick of butter to each pack. So I added a whole stick of butter because I used 2 packs. This recipe does call for, I think, 2 tablespoons of water, is what I'm adding now. And when I was mixing it, it didn't remind me, like, it wasn't the consistency of my homemade chocolate chip cookie dough. So I did end up adding 1 egg and like a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. So I'm just using the wrapper from the butter container to grease my pan. Yes, girl, won't waste nothing. And so in the bottom of the pan, I just got a parchment paper sheet, which I just cut the same size as my pan. And we're going to get that cookie dough into that pan and into our preheated 350-degree oven, and we're going to bake that for 26 minutes. For your reference, this is a 10-inch cake pan. So now we're out of the oven, nice and golden brown, came out perfect. I don't know why 26 minutes is the perfect time for me. So I'm just gonna flip that over. It's hot. I don't know why I'm not using my mitt. It was hot. So I'm getting that parchment sheet off the bottom and I'm just gonna flip it over and let our cookie cake cool on top of our cooling rack. So now that we're waiting on our cookie to cool, we're going to start working on some of the fondant details. So you absolutely can pipe some of your details. If you're really good at piping, this is your time to shine. But as for me and my hands, we are going to use molds because I am not very good at piping. I can pipe borders, but I cannot pipe letters or numbers. I'm not very good at it. So we're going to get a number 4 because the birthday girl is turning 4. And we're also going to get some seashells and some seaweed and a little seahorse so we can decorate our cookie. Okay, so I did decide to add some lime green for the seaweed. Like, is it seaweed? Is that what that mold is? And so for this mold, it's actually very difficult to get this shape out, as well as the seahorse, because they're very intricate. So for these, I'm going to actually, put the fondant into the mold. I'm going to clean off the fondant, and I'm not going to just immediately try to take them out like I did with the seashells and the starfish. I'm going to actually pop these molds into the freezer for about 2 or 3 minutes to let them harden up, and then it'll make it easier for those to pop right out without you messing up your actual shape. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the actual edible images. And I did find these images on Google. I found the fish and the lobster on Google. The name I actually made in Canva, and then the image of the black Ariel, I bought that off of Etsy. So I can link all of that stuff below, and I can also link below the video of me showing you guys how I size my images for my cakes and treats. So I'm just using scissors to cut each one of these images out. You can absolutely use your X-Acto knife if you want to get really close to the edge of these pictures and you don't want any white or blue borders around them. You can use your X-Acto knife, but because of the background of my cake is going to be blue, so I'm just going to leave that blue around the crab, and I'm going to leave the white border around the name, because I'm actually going to end up putting that onto a purple background. So it will be the green letters with a white background, and then also a purple border around it. So I'm leaving that on intentionally. You can absolutely cut all the white off of yours if you don't want that white border. And like I said, my cake, the cookie cake, is 10 inches. So I sized all these images according to the size of the cookie, which is 10 inches. And I tell you guys all the time, the sizing of your images matters a lot, because that's the difference. It makes a big difference in how your cake or your treats come out. With how you actually size your images. If they're too small, then you'll have all this extra space, and if they're too big, then they won't fit on your design the way you need to. So I size these according to them all being able to fit onto a 10-inch cake. Now I'm just going to add all those edible images to a fondant background. I tell you guys also that I like to add fondant to the back of all my edible images, because it just makes them look nicer, and it makes them sit on buttercream and not actually start to become like transparent and melt in. A lot of times when you just stick the edible image directly on top of buttercream, when it does start to, your cake or whatever starts to come room temperature or starts to sweat, it will start to your image will start to look almost see-through. Sometimes they slide off, sometimes they actually become wet. So that fondant background is almost like a protector or a barrier, and it just looks so much nicer when you add fondant to the back of your images. So always add fondant to the back of your images before you place them onto fondant or buttercream. Again, I know you guys are gonna ask. I got this image of the black Ariel from Etsy. I purchased the image and then I downloaded it, and then I was able to size it in my Canva app in my Canva app, and then I also used my Pages app to size these images for the size of the cake. So I did get it from Etsy. Like I said, I did have to purchase it. So I'm just cutting this out as well, and I will get fondant on the back of the Ariel as well. And if you are wondering, that is just water that I'm using. You can use water, you can use edible glue, you can use piping gel, whatever works best for you. But when you are using water, you have to be careful because, like I told you in another video, one drop of water, if it touches your image, it will actually erase the color in that spot. So you have to be very careful. So if you are a beginner, I will say that you should use something more like piping gel or edible glue, because those are not actually wet and you don't have to worry about as much dripping as water, and they're just easier to work with. So yes, if you are using water and you don't have anything else, I would be very, very careful and do not go all the way to the edge, because when you do place your image down, the water will spread to the edge. So you don't have to put too much water. You just want it to be a little damp. You don't want it to be completely soaking wet, because you will end up messing up your images, because water cannot touch that at all, because as soon as a drop of water touches an edible image, it automatically turns white in that spot. Okay, so these are all our little seashells and our images. Those are some edible pearls. And so this is our seahorse out of the freezer. You see how easy it came out? And then you see our seaweed, it pops out as well. It broke when I was pulling it out, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to use it in pieces anyway, and you can also piece it back together. So now this is just white buttercream that I'm going to use. I'm going to add just a little bit of turquoise food color to it, and I want to get like a light turquoise color for the water, and this will be the background for our cookie cake. So yeah, this is just regular buttercream, and I'm just adding some turquoise food coloring. You can do whatever color you want. I'm just doing blue because it reminds me of water, and I'm going to do a light blue, and then we're going to get that onto our cookie. So now our cookie is completely cooled, and we have it down on top of a 10-inch cake board. You do want to put it on top of a cake board. You do want to be able to lift up your cookie and move it. So you don't want to just place it in a box with nothing under the bottom. So I do have a 10-inch cake board under the bottom. I just put a little dab of buttercream so the cookie doesn't move. So now I'm just spreading a layer of buttercream onto our cookie. You don't want to go all the way to the edge. You want to go almost all the way to the edge, but not completely to the edge. And you want your circle, so you have to keep this in mind as well when you're doing your images. You want it to fit almost inside of like a 9-inch circle if you're doing a 10-inch cookie, because the part that we leave out, you see around the edge, that's actually, I'm gonna pipe a border. So if you have any pictures or anything there, they will be covered up by the piping. So I'm just going almost all the way to the edge. You don't want to go over the sides. You want to go almost all the way to the edge with your buttercream, like you see me did. I just cleaned that up a little bit. And so now we're going to get our images in. So we're going to get Ariel down, and then we're going to get those extra little splashes. Those splashes were so cute to me, and even though they were a pain to cut out by themselves, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So we're getting down our images. I'm going to get down Sebastian and what is his name? Flapper? What is the fish's name? I don't know his name. And so I'm just going to get a little bit of buttercream on the back of the name. Her name is Ariana. So we're going to carefully get that down at the bottom. And then we're going to start putting some of our little edible pearls, and we're going to fill in with the rest of our decorations as well. So those little green, I added those little green strips. You'll see in a minute. So this is the seaweed that we cut. And like I said, I'm going to use that other piece to put on the other side. And then we have these little, we have our seahorse, and then we have our seashells, which I'm going to save to put those. So these little green strips I just cut, and I'm just going to twist those, as you can see. And that gives it that little ocean look, like they're like floating in the ocean. You're just going to twirl them like a candy curl, and then you're just gonna place them down. So simple and easy. They're just long triangles literally that I cut, and I'm just twisting them and place them down like that. Very easy, very simple. Okay, so I got the rest of that blue buttercream into a piping bag. So I'm just piping a simple border around the edge. Like I said, if you're really good at piping, this is your time to shine. I'm just doing a simple border, girl. Simple border. So just getting that around, and you see how it cleans up the edges of it and kind of tucks everything in. Like I said, that's why you want your pictures to fit on the inside of that. I'm just getting some sprinkles around the edge, and I actually got this sprinkle mix from Dollar Tree. Yes, I actually used this in another video I showed you guys. So now we're gonna get the starfish and the seashells and stuff. We're gonna get them onto the cake around the border. I didn't want to put them down first because they would have been covered up with my piping, so that's why I'm putting them on top. These are just some little styrofoam balls that I had. I got those from Dollar Tree, and I thought they looked like bubbles, so they were cute. Get those down. Because we put it on that cake board, it was easy to slide right off, and this is our cake. How cute did this turn out? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and consider subscribing. See you next time. Bye.
Sweet life, a sweet, sweet, sweet.